Ola Sharmal in Grecia with some information to share about retiring on a budget in Costa Rica, living on Social Security. So I get a lot of questions about the cost of living in Costa Rica, and some people say, oh, I hear it's so cheap to live in Costa Rica, and some people say, oh, I hear it's so expensive to live in Costa Rica. So I've been here for 4 weeks and I've kept track of expenses, and I'm going to share a little bit with you about my experiences, and I'm going to share these costs in US dollars so that you can kind of relate to those expenses. So I have spent $40 on eating out twice a week. Lunch, brunch, one time dessert. Sometimes these were at little local sodas that you find along the sidewalk. And sometimes they were a little bit more upscale than that. I also have spent about $75 over a 4-week period on Uber rides, going almost anywhere I wanted to go. That might sound like a lot, but I have compared it to, well, I spent like twice that just in a period of half a day near the Dallas airport as I was leaving the United States. And I've spent a lot more than that when I was in Washington, D.C. or vacationing in Florida. So I think that Uber rides are very inexpensive here. I also compared that to my previous vehicle expenses. In the States, I had 2 cars. I can only drive one at a time. So one of them I hardly ever drove. But the insurance on those 2 cars was more than $200 a month. And I also had expenses like gas and tire rotation and oil changes and new tires and just regular maintenance. So $75 in Uber expenses over a 4-week period is not that bad. I have had a few additional expenses for taxi rides and bus rides. I have determined that for me, Uber is a better choice than a taxi. It seems to be less expensive, and with an Uber, you know ahead of time what the fare is going to be. Now, I've also spent about $350 at grocery stores, and that might sound like a lot for one person for 4 weeks of groceries, and it is a lot more than I would usually spend. But I have to take into account that when I moved here, I had to totally provide for a new kitchen that didn't have very many things in it. So, in addition to just basic food things, I also had to buy some kitchen utensils like a grater. I bought some silverware. Also on those grocery bills, I bought things like an iron and a chair for the patio and a couple of little lamps so I'd have light at night, a little bit of light at night when I get up during the middle of the night. So those kinds of things were on those grocery bills. Then I also have gone to the ATM several times, and I have withdrawn about 400 US dollars in colones. Now that might seem a lot, and that has covered things like fresh produce at the farmer's market, some bus rides and some taxi rides. But it is also included, $200 of that was for the dog trainer, 5 dog training sessions, plus 100 of it was for a new leash and collar that the dog trainer felt like my dog needed for her training lessons. So, and it was also for a few other little incidental expenses, like I went to a yoga class and paid cash colones, and I also went to a bingo game and paid cash colones. So those are some of my expenses. Now, I have not yet figured in utility bills or what it costs to install Wi-Fi or the monthly Wi-Fi expense, because I don't know those things yet, but I'll be sharing those things with you when I know what those are. My phone here, it looks like it's $26 so far, and this is like a Costa Rica pay-as-you-go phone SIM card that I need for when I'm walking around in Grecia and I need to call an Uber, or I need my phone for something else. When I'm at home and it's connected to Wi-Fi, it's not costing me anything, and I still have my USA phone, cell phone service. So those will give you some ideas about expenses here in Costa Rica. Now, that does not include my rent. So I'm renting an apartment, and I looked at a lot of things in the Central Valley area that you could rent for $650, $750, $800 a month, and those were nice. But I decided to live in a gated community that cost quite a bit more than that, $1,400 a month, but that includes 24-hour security. It includes all the beautiful grounds and the groundskeepers and the pools that I use almost every day. There's also like a yoga gathering place and a gym and a sauna, which I will never use. I haven't used it yet. There's a basketball court, 2 soccer fields, tennis court where people also play pickleball, and a clubhouse. All of those kinds of things, those sport facilities I won't be using, or I won't be using much, but other people might. So anyway, that's a little bit of information about living in Costa Rica. I'm sure that if you choose a community on the beach, like tourist vacation communities on the beach, I'm sure those expenses are a lot higher. But here in Central Valley, that's just a little information about what it costs to live here in Costa Rica. If this information is helpful to you, hit the subscribe button, because I'll be sharing more information along the way as I learn more information. Pura Vida, adios.